and Anthony.
Hello, y'all.
Good morning.
Good morning, ladies and gents.
How is everybody?
Yeah, it's a fine day, nice and warm out
No,
there.
it's not that warm. I don't know what it's going to be like later, but it's not that warm.
It's pretty warm. Go out in short sleeve shirts.
It's a good weather. It's better than that crazy heat we had a few weeks ago.
Yeah,
and
that's
the smoke seems to be, or the,
Yeah,
the smell
it's
seems to be gone.
Gone a little bit. Yeah, you know what? That was very, now that you said that, that was very controversial because I was with my friend the other night and she brought up this article and it was talking about in Nova Scotia, Halifax, whatever, they got problems with the fires, right? They got quite a few. So there was this retired chief or captain from the fire department said, wow, you know what, like they reached out and they said, we need help, right? From wherever, anywhere. And he has 29 years experience. He was a captain. So he gathered up some men that have retired or they're not doing this anymore for whatever reason. And he got a group of them together and he sent in the request, you know, that they want to come help fight the fires. And they're very experienced because obviously he was 29 years fighting fires in that bush in Nova Scotia. And he got in the bush.
In one bush?
In one bush. We call it the bush. I'm from down east, so yeah, the bush. And apparently they got rejected. They said, nope, we don't need your help, thank you. But yet they got firefighters coming from Africa, all over the world, US to help. But then they had this group of firefighters from the immediate area that knows, you know, these kind of fires and have dealt with them for years, and they rejected them and said no. So this guy went live on internet and talked a lot about how he couldn't believe that, you know, like you will bring people from all over the world, but you don't want to bring back for however long firefighters that worked this kind of fires before. I thought that was really interesting.
Were the people from abroad bringing equipment too? Like,
I don't know, but like what he said was they didn't want to be front line. They were willing to help wherever, like behind. He's like, we didn't have to be in front. We just wanted to be there to help. We could be behind the front line, helping, digging, doing whatever, right?
Are they all retired?
Yeah.
Maybe that's it. Maybe it's an insurance thing.
Then get insurance
It's a
for it.
stupid thing.
So how do you have insurance for someone coming from Africa?
No, it's a stupid thing.
I'm trying to give them benefit of the doubt.
Yeah, I agree.
There's
I agree.
no benefit
It's
of
the
the
same
doubt.
thing. Well, there's a couple of things that come to mind. One is, what about when the restaurants used to give the food to the homeless, and one of the homeless people got sick, sued the restaurant, won. So the restaurant stopped giving the food to the homeless.
So that's it though. But like, it's.
But-
I'm not saying it's a good
And so
thing.
they
but
throw the food away.
Again, I'm not saying I agree with it, but if, as a restaurateur, if I'm gonna, again, I'm not sure how much
Yeah.
person sued for, but like, if I'm gonna be at risk losing I want to do a good thing, but then I have to worry about the laws saying that,
Right.
like, that to me, so it's like, what
Well,
do you do?
yeah. And,
So you
and
can't
that,
even be a good human anymore because you get
Well,
questioned or you get, you know, it's
Well, yeah, I don't know if you can't be a good human anymore, but
in those cases.
yeah, but it is really strange when the law turns everything on its head, and so that one person winning out destroys a whole.
Yeah, because you don't want to be the second person.
The whole system. Well, you won't be. You won't be. It's insane. Because now you set a precedent for being sued. So everybody, they'll just pretend they got sick, and so they can make money. It's crazy.
Yeah, it's well, it's the same old saying, right? One bad apple spoils the bunch. So.
Well, I remember this during COVID. There's in order to really fight COVID properly, not the stuff that we did, because that was interestingly silly, but you need special masks, and they're not K95 masks that everybody says, and the pretend scientists say. The K95 do not have holes small enough to protect you from viruses. So the masks that you actually need aren't the $1 masks and the 2 for $5 masks. They're not. They're $30 each. So this gentleman here in Durham region, prior to COVID, he had, because he has, he's big into army and stuff like that, so he had ordered a whole bunch of these viral protecting masks. And these masks are $30 each. And so he gets them, and COVID hits. So he's like, oh my. So he went to the hospitals and to the fire department and all that stuff to donate masks. But they would not take them, and they wouldn't take them because they, well, first of all, for him to donate them, he had to go through this big chain of command. And finally, I don't know, some bean counter in some closet somewhere said no. When they got the specs of the mask doesn't fit the specs, and not what we're talking about is the size, the shape. Did not fit. So the ones that we're wearing sort of went across like I can only think of a tampon, but anyways, goes across.
What? How? But it doesn't make sense.
I know it does. It
Maybe
just
a
goes
maxi pad.
Yeah,
not
that's
a,
what
yeah.
I meant. That's what I meant. So,
This guy don't even know what
I don't
the
know
difference
the definition, yeah. But just goes
And you
across,
had two girls.
across
Wow,
your
that's
face
funny.
with an elastic go on. But these ones were actually fitted to go around your nose and the crevices and not let any spaces in. So they said no, but these were the actual masks that they needed. They could have got them for free, and they didn't. So here's what happened. So he goes, okay, well, I mean, then I'll just sell them. So he put them on to sell them, put them on the market to sell them. He got hate mail. People were saying,
Oh,
oh,
yeah.
you're trying to make money from COVID and all this stuff. He was selling them pretty much at cost, and he was giving them away, and he was refused. So then when he put it out to the public, then he started getting death threats. The local radio station was saying how bad he was, that he's a really bad man and all this stuff. All just really bad. So here's, another example.
And he's one of the most giving person I know.
And quite a philanthropist. But and here's just the thing, whereas you know what, you really can't win. And our system is so entrenched with policies that it's actually eating itself. And
Well,
it's kind of
people are
unfortunate.
like, it's going to become a world where people just are scared to do a good deed anymore. Like I can remember like, and I guess I have a soft spot for animals and seniors, okay? I love seniors. And I came out of the grocery store one day and this lady was trying to put her groceries in the car. And usually the thing I do is I'll say, oh, I'll take your cart back for you, right? But I saw she was struggling, so I wanted to just help her put her groceries in. And she looked at me, she jumped, and she's like, no, it was like she thought I was going to rob her or something. And I'm like, okay, I just wanted to help put your groceries in. But that's where the world has become, that everybody is like on high alert, right? Because people are getting robbed all the time in parking lots. So she was scared to even accept help from I'm like this tiny little woman. Because that's what the world is telling us, what's going on out there is it's not safe. Don't trust anybody. And, everybody's bad. And
But you are scary if you came up to me in a parking lot and I didn't know you. Yeah. So, hey.
But anyways,
the
guys,
big news.
we're on YouTube. So
At YouTube Pros.
at YouTube Pros, go check us out on YouTube. You can see how I give Randy those really dirty looks.
We're on live on YouTube, is
Yeah.
what you're saying. So if
Oh,
you go
well,
there, you can see us
Oh,
live.
sorry. I'm not very good with technology, guys.
Let's
so.
with technology, with the word live, it's just a word that she can't say. So let's talk about the elephant in the room.
Wait, before we get
Is
there,
the elephant me?
I'm assuming you're talking about interest rates, yes? No?
Oh,
Yeah,
here then.
DOC.
Here's the
Okay.
first email we got.
Wait,
You got
what?
it up, Anthony?
Oh yeah, okay, I'm not sure. Yeah, but we got two emails in, so I'm gonna go over. I'll read them first before we get into it. One from Monica, one from Dave. Monica says, interest rates again. Hello all, interest rates up again. What is going on? Terrible. We'll wait to hear what you have to say about this on the show. Well, thank you, Monica. Give us a second. We'll get right into it. And then we also have one from Dave. Dave says, hey, interest rates went up again. I was just watching the news that they blamed the Trudeau government, and this was on a Canadian news source. So yeah, we have another one.
Edward.
Edward, What does Edward have to say?
Edward's a loyal listener, and he
Love
just
this.
said, love the show, and he's waiting. That came in yesterday,
Okay.
and he's waiting for this morning to listen.
Well, here we are. So yeah, so
Here
interest
we
rates
are in the flesh.
Went up about another 0.25% up to 4.75% now. So yeah, so it's yeah, I'm sure like a lot of people are actually on the sidelines waiting for the interest rates to come down to try to get into the market or waiting it out. And
That's not happening.
yeah, I guess it was a little bit of a surprise. I think with this rate, I don't think we were fully expecting. I think Scotiabank predicted it would happen, but most people thought
Well,
it'll probably stay
if
steady
you-
for a bit.
If you listen to the Bank of Canada, and you listen to what a lot of people are saying, they are saying that this is the only way they can bring things in line, is just keep upping the interest rate. So I think until they have it where they want it, we may see more. Randy?
Well, I'm just making some notes here because I got triggered.
Oh, no.
Well, before you go on your diatribe, and also like some ancillary effects. Again, mortgages, variable rate mortgages. We already had many of them hit their trigger point before this rate hike, and now if you hadn't hit, it's most likely any mortgage that you had signed within the last 3 years, most likely has hit that trigger point. If you had a mortgage where your payment stays the same and this you pay more interest, you're most likely at a time now where you're no longer covering your interest or principal. Your interest really, and you're gonna have to negotiate your terms or pay more or figure it out, because you're now pretty much, if without changing anything, you're in a reverse amortization period, and you're gonna basically your mortgage is actually growing each month, even though you're making whatever payment you're making.
Yeah, because you're only paying interest now.
Well,
Some people aren't even
You're not
paying
even
anything.
paying the interest. You're paying just interest, and there's more interest on top of that.
Yeah,
So, for
no
example,
principal.
if your mortgage payment is $2,000, your interest is $2,300. So every month you're paying $2,000, but your balance is growing by $300.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's pretty crazy. So would this be
so-
a question, Randy? So like for older people, let's just say that have their homes paid in full, right? And possibly struggling a little bit, would this be a good time for them to maybe look at a reverse mortgage? I know that's eat your equity as well, but
Interest rates are rising, sweetheart. Older people are not interested in getting into a product where they're paying more and more interest. They see it a little differently than people of today. They see that interest rate as like mafia stuff. So I don't think that that's necessarily their solution unless they need the money. Then there are no other options. If they don't need the money, it's better to stay debt-free right now with Tiff Macklin behind the wheel. The real issue here is
why did his mother name him Tiff?
yeah. So interest rates did go up again. Yes, you're right, Monica, and it does make it very, very hard for people. You wanted to know why it went up. I'm going to go through that in a second. Dave, interest rates up again, and saying something about Trudeau government. Basically, with the Trudeau government, the problem is they've got their foot on the gas for inflation. In other words, they're spending money. They're not looking to make cutbacks. So they've kind of got their foot on the gas, whereas the Bank of Canada is like, oh, we don't want spending. So they've got their foot on the brakes. And so, if you're driving your car and one foot's on the brakes and one foot's on the gas, you're stressing out the car, you're needlessly burning fuel, and you're probably destroying your brakes and other things as well. So that's kind of what's happening in government, and that's why Trudeau's name is being mentioned like that. There's a philosophy amongst the elites, the people who have the education to really talk about stuff like this. We really don't have the education to talk about stuff like this. We're just talking from our own perception as laymen. But from the elites, they believe that corporations and governments can't cause inflation. It's us people who cause it. I think that they're absolutely delusional However, that is the perception. So when you get into a discussion that the government's spending this, they're giving money to these corporations, oh, but that's not how inflation works. It's like, okay, it's pretty silly, really, because there's always been talk that if you print more money, in essence, today you do not have to. You don't have to print money today. They can just spend it. And so, in essence, while they're just spending it, it's the equivalent of printing it, and that's what helps to cause inflation. And we all know that the printing of money will cause either the deflation of money or the inflation of money. In either way, to us people on the ground, it feels the exact same. We have to pay more money. If our money's deflated, then it's worth less. And so we need more money to buy the same goods. And so that feels the same as inflation, where we need more money to buy the same goods. To us, it's the same thing. To them, there's a technical line there. But the reason why, for Monica, that the interest rates went up again is basically two main factors, one sub factor. So the economy has it's been around 0 to 3% floating around there. So it hasn't been on fire per se, but there are some, and so it's been kind of cooperating with the Bank of Canada, and inflation was coming down.
You mean inflation?
And so no, the economy and inflation. Yes, inflation has, the economy has been cooperating, basically listening to the Bank of Canada and doing what they want, and relatively speaking, and inflation was doing the same. But inflation decided to go out on its own and make a little bit of a turn to go back up, and I think it went from 4.3 to 4.4, and because it was pointing in the other direction, it woke up the Bank of Canada. That's one reason. The other reason is the job market. The job market is on fire. What the Bank of Canada was kind of hoping is that there would be like 25,000 new jobs being built, but there was like 40, 20, 30, and then 100 and change each one of those months. And the 100 and change was the most recent job announcement, so it was like 4 times what they were hoping it would be. And therefore, they were saying, okay, well, while the economy or the GDP may be running relative to what we want, jobs are markets too hot, inflation turned the other way. And if they were to look at things like the real estate market, for some very strange reason, and it could be that it was the spring market, went on fire. And that market we all saw when it cooled down in the third week of May, but the fourth week of May. But the Bank of Canada doesn't see these things. They're not on the ground working it, so they don't know what's going on until they get their reports, which is long after the activity has happened. So while they thought that the real estate market was hot, the truth of the matter is it was hot and now it's cooling down, but they have to make their announcement in between learning these things. So with inflation turning the corner, jobs being so high, they really didn't have a lot of choice. I'm not going to necessarily blame it on TIF, but I will say this. I was hoping that it wouldn't happen, and I was betting that it wouldn't happen as well. And the reason being is because the side effects of it, not because of what he should do. It's because the banks are in so much financial issues over this increase in prices, the increase in interest rate that we've had, that they're holding mortgages that just don't even have a value. They're basically negative value mortgages, and this is making up a pretty decent size of their portfolios, which means that the banks aren't as stable as they used to be. And I would think that that TIF would realize that that was him that caused that issue. But there's one other reason why we would think that it's not going to go up, and that's because of a thing that the Bank of Canada likes to pride themselves on, and that's forward guidance. They're sort of like guiding us of what's going to be going on so we can conduct our lives and conduct our businesses in accordance, but they didn't do that.
I was going to say they made a big
They,
mistake.
they did not provide the forward guidance, and therefore most of the marketplace didn't believe that they would do it, considering all the havoc they've caused. But we have to remember, we have the magical Tiff at the helm, and while he may be a brilliant economist and a professor at the University of Toronto and one of the leading people in Canada for economics, I'm not sure if we all like the way in which he's governing the Bank of Canada, and he is kind of a little bit rogue. And while he's doing his job, and I wouldn't want to have his job, it's a bad job right now, but I believe he created this environment when he did the QE. So you don't get away with it. You don't get away with printing close to $4 billion worth of Bank of Canada money, settlement banks balances to the banks. And then a high inflation follows because you are building this non-printed money, right? It's non-printed money, but it's the Bank of Canada's form of printing money. And that is, and that they don't believe increases interest rate, but look what happened to interest rate. They went absolutely silly. And now he has to manage it back down. And managing it back down is very, very tough job for anyone. So this is why he looks like a bad guy. But unfortunately, I still feel it's a lot of his fault. And the whole QE process, honestly, should be abolished. It should, or if they're going to use it to try to spark an economy and to give the government more spending power, it needs to be limited. Like, he stretched it to 4 times, the money the prior to him doing it, he multiplied that by 4. So that's a lot of money being pumped into the system, giving the government a lot of freedom to spend, and it didn't work out very well for anybody, including us.
The end. I'm assuming.
Give him a second. getting his breath. But I don't know. I don't know how you fix it because like with these rates being so high, it's hard for especially first-time buyers. People already in the market who had their budget set. People with variable rate mortgages, especially because they've seen their prices go up and up and up for over the last, 6 months to a year. But the thing is, as much as we'd all like the interest rates go down, if they were to go down to what they were, the house prices would just go nuts because as we don't buy what we need, we buy what we can afford, right? And that's kind of a problem. That's kind of our issue where instead of getting, if you have 2 kids, get your nice 3-bedroom. That's in an area you like. But no, we don't do that. We go to the bank. We say, okay, how much can I afford? I can afford $1.5 million. So I'm going to spend $1.5 million. Versus saying, you know what, this house is in this area. It's a decent size for my family. It works, and go for that. And because of that issue, that mismanagement of money by us, sometimes it's just causing the prices to go up and up and up to this crazy amount where. Again, homes that just a few years ago might have cost $600,000 are now costing $1 million plus. So it's crazy. I have no idea how to fix it because I don't want the interest rates to be high. I would love them to be lower, but if they were to go lower again, I'm pretty confident the house prices would just skyrocket because.
Because there's still so many people out there that want to buy, and they can't because the interest rates went up. Some people were completely ready. They've saved for years for the down payment, and they got approved, and they never got into market because everything went crazy on them. I feel bad for those people. I'm so glad that I bought a house many, many years ago and got in and did all that because, man, it's a struggle out there right now. Like, when I have quite a few buyers, and I go out there and I see the homes, and I'm like, holy, like you look and you're like, this sold for like 1.2 million.
Honestly, I remember.
And it's like 2,400 square feet, not even, and it's dated a little bit, not even, and it's still going.
It's like, again, I'm gonna date myself a little bit, but like I just remember when I was younger, a house for like $250,000, you're like, what the hell's going on? Like that's crazy. That's like $250,000 or $400,000 is like, wow, $400,000 now can't get you like a patch of grass.
No,
So
no.
it's
Yeah, like our first home we bought was almost 3,300 square feet, and what did we pay for it, Randy? 238,000. 238,000, and that was a stretch then because we were young. Like that was even before we got married, but that was 3,300 square feet.
Crazy now. Your house cost is a down payment now.
Yeah,
for like
yes, yeah. Yeah, that's so right. Yeah, now you have to have that just to be able to go out and buy a home. It's, and not only that, like these sellers, they're getting scared. Like they want more and more from the buyer, more and more proof that they have the funds, that they have, the deposit and the down payment, and they're approved because. And not only if they're approved for that, but what if the appraisal comes in short? Now these sellers are worried about the appraisal comes in short. Now my house is not going to close. I bought one. It's very, very stressful. I have a few clients that are buying and selling, and they are stressed to the max. And there's like, you can't help them. You can only educate them, but you can't take down the stress level because the market is what it is. And it's hard, like it's very hard. And then even after they buy or sell, they're like, oh, did I get the best? Did I pay too much? Did I sell too low? Because the market is like from 3 weeks ago, what people were getting for their houses to now, there's a huge difference. There's a huge difference in 3 weeks because the market in June just goes down, right? And you're not getting the same anymore. Yeah, so and in some cases, you bought 3 weeks ago, and now you're getting your house ready. And that's why I always tell people, but sometimes people just don't listen. If you're out there and you're actively looking and you know you're going to buy, if you find something, start preparing your house now. Start packing up the stuff you don't use. Start getting it ready so when you find that house, right? All you got to do is get it on the market then. You don't have to take a week getting things out and clearing up. Start your decluttering now. And if you don't find a house, so what? Now you've decluttered your house. So it's, maybe you don't even want to move anymore now that you've decluttered. I don't know.
There's many people that we've
had a lot of
declutter
people.
And paint and
yeah,
set up,
and then they're like, I don't want to move.
Once the house is staged, they're like, I love this place. I wouldn't move this, what it was like.
Yeah, so
you're saying you're the original Love It or List of people.
Yeah, we could do that show here in Canada, by the way, if anybody out there wants to sponsor us.
They already do it in Canada, I think.
Well, they could use us now, because you said we're...
Okay, so you have some buzz?
Well, we have a few emails kind of touching on what we're talking about before. One from Jane talking about interest rates. Hey to your team, why does the government not see how bad this is, the interest rates, for our economy and for the people of Canada? What is wrong with them? This is not basic finance 101. I'm a math teacher, and this is nuts. So,
That's a fellow math teacher.
There you go. That's so. I think we kind of discussed that while Randy went on his diatribe. I'm sure you can give another 10 minutes or so, but
no, just a quick one. The government does see it. It's not about them not seeing it. It's about whether they feel that it's part of the agenda. See, the government's very busy right now. Right? They have, they're on a social justice sort of kick where they want to monitor our speech, and they've passed laws to actually regulate your speech. They're on other kicks like saving the planet, because of all of the emissions and things of that nature. So climate change is a big concern for them. Do you remember when the interest rates, when inflation went to 8% and Justin Trudeau went to the G7? And what was his talk on climate change? It wasn't about us experiencing this totally erratic environment because of the QE and the spending that they just did. It was about climate change and how much more they need to spend in order to save the world. I wish we could take that and make that deep and echo, save the world, and that's what the government needs to concentrate on. So the fact that we are experiencing some extra interest rates or some extra inflation, that is nothing compared to saving the world.
All right, so we got something, okay? In a world that needs to be saved, Justin Trudeau will do it. That's right.
funny.
Tax rates will go up 100% just to save the world. Trust Justin Trudeau is your man.
Hey, there you go.
So there we go. Justin Trudeau will save us just in time.
Justin Trudeau will save all of us just in time.
There we go.
That's the new slogan for him for his campaign next.
We got another one from Jim. Jim says, yeah, baby. Hey, your team. Jimmy, the short order cook here from New York City. I just love the take on Randy's comments about the mafia stuff. I love it. Hilarious. Forget about it. So,
Forget about it.
thank you, Jim. We got Katie. Katie says she would rather. So it's basically saying this is all so disappointing and now getting very boring to all of us here in Canada. I'd rather listen to Jackie talk about orphan animals and the news of the week.
Thank you.
I don't know if it's boring, maybe depressing more, but
Thank you. I can talk a lot about animals.
Well, I think it's really kind of sad that we feel the need to see life in such a negative light. Like I am not necessarily that type of person. I like to kind of try to balance it with a lot of really ridiculous visions. Possibly, let's pretend
But you're a dreamer.
If I was not X-Man, and I would believe that I could be a superhero, and I like to think like that. But because I am a superhero, it's very different because it's real, as opposed to just fantasy. But
Oh,
it
boy.
is really unfortunate that we have to experience what we're experiencing, and I think that these times are really strange times because we just went through this totally illogical COVID period where we had scientists telling us things that were non-science based that we had to do, and we were following the science. And anybody who decided to be logical, all the followers were just following and listening to what they were saying. But the ones that were not necessarily following were saying, well, hold on a second. With face coverings, you do any kind of research, what's the size of the virus? What's the size of the holes in the KN95 masks?
Okay, why are we back to
No, I'm
COVID?
just saying it was just totally illogical. And many people bought into it and buy into it still to today. And have done their homework, and their homework showed them that these masks would save them, but it's not true. And then we go into those confusing times to the government spending all kinds of money, unprecedented money during that time, to a time when now we're living the ripple effect from that. And was this all part of this whole COVID thing to get us thinking about something different? I don't believe that. But now we see that actually, as who was it that said it? Katie? No, someone said it. I believe it was.
Said what, Randy? Maybe we can help you.
Said that why can't the government see it? Jane said, why can't the government see it? But they can see it. It's just that they have other priorities, such as the COVID was a big priority and those kind of things, and that's where we're at. So now us ants on the ground who are paying so much more money to survive, $100 for a small bag of groceries, which I find actually almost disgusting, personally, that you leave that store with one bag and it's $100. I still can't
When
believe
did you
it.
leave the grocery store with
I
bags?
hear people talking about it.
You don't go to grocery store.
No, I don't
You
spend
don't
money.
actually know.
Actually, I don't have money to spend, and that's
No.
why I don't spend money. But I find this very, very concerning, and so I think that at some point this has got to turn around. And what's going to happen is it's going to turn around, and most of us will be so depressed with our heads down that we won't see it. And again, the people who aren't hit so hard, they're waiting for it. I have friends that are like really happy that this is happening. And they want this to continue, and they want the economy to go into the crapper, and they say that's the only way you can fix it. It's the only way you can fix it. But if you really think about it, the thing that's really scary is that you're fixing the price of bread going up 50 cents by making your mortgage go up $1,000. That's how we'll fix it. Because if you that $1,000 goes towards your mortgage, then you don't have the money to buy the bread, and therefore the bread prices can't continue to rise. And this is a tongue-in-cheek version of the policy, but that's basically in essence what they're doing, and it hurts.
Right. I think this your diatribe there probably will help. Oh, anyways, William sent an email saying, "Hello, loving the show. Thanks for the depression." So I'm sure you just added that with your last that thing there. And we have another one from Florence. Florence is a little bit angry with you, Randy.
All right, bring it on, Florence.
Florence says, "Here we go again. I am hot and cold with Randy. It is in fact Tiff's fault. What does Randy not understand? Watching BS on TV or the internet. All the reputable economists around the world say this is the federal government's fault here in Canada. Hey, the buck stops here. Remember these words. Trudeau and Tiff can stop all of this. Get your facts right."
Randy, get your facts right.
I think Florence probably misunderstood what I said.
Well, before you
ahead.
answer that, she did previously say in an email earlier that Jackie is right, just so you have that context.
Jackie's right about what, though?
Anything she says.
She's talking about. I didn't read that one yet. So earlier in the show, she said to add to Jackie's comments on the wildfires, the U.S. government asked the federal government here if they wanted the wildfire aircraft from the U.S. to come up here and put out those fires, which they could do quickly, and Trudeau said no, that the Canadian military and other agencies could handle it. So in the news media, the take now is that these wildfires were intentionally set as where they started was no inclement weather or lightning, etc. 12 of the fires started within hours of each other, with no bad weather being reported in these areas. The take, news agencies are reporting that it is all a climate change ploy to get more money from Canadians for climate change.
Actually,
That sounds a little extreme.
No. There are people saying that, but I can't remember the reason why they were intentionally set. They were intentionally set for some reason, because I had heard somebody saying it the other night, and I can't remember, but I did read stuff where they're saying.
But if there was a reason, then why wouldn't they say that they set them?
You know what? It could, because they're saying it's
Now they're out of control.
infamous reason.
They say
it's not like a public. Well, we set them in order to control this. No, it's not like that. We want more money for climate change, but I don't buy into that. Just like I don't buy into what I said previously, is that the reason that we're in all this mess is with finances is it's a transformation of wealth. The money's being transferred out of our pockets into corporations' pockets, and this is the type of thing that's gone on for years. So they did it through COVID. They got us all confused in COVID, and then they slipped it in through QE, and now we're living it out. It sounds like a good story, but I do not believe it, and I made it up myself. I haven't heard anybody say it, but it feels that way to me. It's a real easy conspiracy theory to make up, but I just can't find any other reason. So. Jack, give us some buzz.
Okay, I'm going to give you something nice this time instead of all
Oh,
this
you know
negative.
what? I just want to say one
sorry.
thing. With Florence, the hot and cold. When you were saying I'm hot and cold on,
She's hot and cold with you.
Yeah, but because I'm hot and cold with my topic with Justin Trudeau. I actually and the money that and how the money causes inflation, and that was it. The thing is Florence, what I was talking about was the hot and cold was that is what the top economists in that say. This is what the economists, this one camp of economists are saying that that the government and the corporations can't charge inflation. And if you remember, I said that I think that's crap. That's horseradish. But nonetheless, that's the philosophy. It's only us that can cause it. And yeah, I'm not a believer of that. So if I seemed hot and cold, it was because I was presenting the other side from other people, not myself.
We'll see.
Okay, so
Okay,
you were.
so I got some good news. Sorry, my earpiece.
Don't worry, I'll depress you guys after.
You know what? Well, some good news for Oshawa. The General Motors is investing $280 million in the Oshawa plant to keep it going, and some of it is to swap over for the electric cars coming, but I mean, it's going to keep a lot of people employed and keep everything going. Apparently, the union, there's 3,000 workers there at that facility right now, so they're revamping, and that's good news for Oshawa, which means there's going to be
Yes.
jobs, good jobs, and hopefully now more people may be able to get out there in the economy. Maybe they can get into real estate or whatever, but it's definitely some job security for the people that are there for sure. So that's some good news, guys. No depressing news. But on the other hand, we got, and here's some other, you know me and my tiny houses. I think it's because I'm tiny and are so cute. And I talked about it a little bit last week with one company up in Guelph, I think we touched on. Well, this is Home Depot. The Home Depot now are starting to get on, and they're like, hey, we want to make some money from this. So Home Depot is offering a balcony garage easy building for $52,399. Now, they have a few that you can buy, different sizes. They have a 540 square foot space for $44,000, a 240 square foot space for $18,500, and a budget option priced at 75. I'm rounding off the numbers here. So you can choose from a variety of styles of houses, and they're very inexpensive, and now that you can have the garden suites, hey, you could put one of these in the back of your parents' house, and you can have your own little home.
So when you say garage, like you
Yeah, it's got a balcony over the garage, like.
so you're buying you're buying the whole garage with a balcony, or are you attaching it to your house?
No, it's like that's what they're calling it,
Oh, okay.
right? And that's like their more expensive one. That's 52.
They're calling it a balcony garage.
Yeah,
That's a stupid.
yeah, I know. It's.
I have a feeling you don't know what that is. I have a feeling.
I have a feeling that. See, I usually
Is there
prepare.
bedrooms?
This time, yeah, of course, there's one. A lot of them have like a loft-style bedroom where you go up.
A lot of them, these ones we're talking about.
It didn't give that explanation
That's what I thought. 'Cause
in the article. Stop it.
no, it was funny because when Anthony asked his question, I felt your heart drop, and then I felt it.
No,
and
you
you're
think
like,
you did.
yes, balcony loft. So who cares about spending $44,000 to put a balcony on your garage?
No, the
So there's got to
44,000
be
is
more.
like 540 square feet is the size of a condo downtown. So
that's
why
true.
can't you see a bedroom there? Why are you
I
asking me
can.
if they have a bedroom?
Well, is it a bedroom? Like, is it a unit? Does it come with a kitchen,
Yeah,
or are they
Yes,
just selling?
it's a tiny house.
With bathroom too, like.
But you have to buy some of the products. Like, you may have to buy
It doesn't
the
say a
flooring that
tiny
you want.
house. It says it's a building. So are they giving you just a shell?
Oh my goodness! Now
No,
I
I'm
gotta
just
go look it up
curious
again.
because I just sensed that you really weren't clear on this article, so I wanted to attack you. No, I didn't really want to. Anthony started, so. But,
was asking a question.
But even if they're giving the space, I'm wondering 540 square feet for 44,000, and then you've got to now build your kitchen, build your bathroom, your plumbing, your
Okay.
electrical.
And how do you get the
your
plumbing to it? You have to
HVAC.
run. You have to run everything.
You can get it all there, but there's costs. Like there's more costs. So, and then what you have is you basically have a room above your garage, right?
No, but she said you put it in the backyard.
Yeah, here they are here.
Okay, hold
So
on.
it says it's a building kit. They don't go on to say, like,
What you
let's-
get with
let's
it, you
look it
just
up.
order it and then you see what you get.
Okay, so here you go. It's a 540 square foot, one bed and roof deck. So look, they got this cute little design, a roof deck on it, and it's steel frame building kit cabin guest house, and that's 43,000. And they do not say.
So you'd have to bring all the wiring. You have to bring
Oh
the
yeah,
plumbing.
you
have
got to
to
bring the wiring, the plumbing,
So you're looking
the
at.
HVAC.
I guess at least another.
Or today, you just run electric baseboards. Yay!
So this kit is
I
designed
doubt
for
it.
to go on a concrete slab, right?
Okay, and you get a garage and a 540 square foot unit above it. Is that what it's saying? So it would be like a 2-story or a 1.5-story structure, basically. So that 540 square feet would have an A-frame roof.
That's what it looks like.
And that, yeah. So that still has a lot of questions for me. But that's interesting. We had.
It looks like it might just be the shell.
Yeah, well, for sure, for sure. And that's why I think that's where, to me, it's a little bit misleading because you think you're getting
Yeah, you have a lot more costs.
But that's your starting cost. So now the rain's not falling on you and the snow's not hitting you, but you only have a 3-season room. In the winter, you're going to freeze to death. So now you got to need insulation. And
You're buying
Well-
a car. You're buying a car with just the body.
Okay, let's ask
No
this
wheels,
then.
no
no
wheels,
seats,
no
no
stereo.
Let me ask you guys this.
No stereo.
Let me ask you guys this now that you put me on the spot. 540 square foot home. Could you even buy the material to
That's a
do the
good
shell
question.
and all that for 40 grand?
Well, does
you?
it
Could you? Could you?
include the garage?
There's no garage. They called it that. I don't know why they call it that. Maybe because you can put it on top of your garage. It's dumb.
No, well, this is what we need to understand.
I know, but listen, I just asked you, do you think for 43,000 you could even do the structure?
I don't know.
Well, there you go. So maybe
Well,
it is
maybe
a good thing.
just the structure. That's just like the frame. Maybe.
And I think what it is, I think it's more convenience than cost, to be honest with you,
Yeah,
because
because they're
what they're
talking
saying is that, you know what, here, you can buy the kit, now you got the structure, so you got the outside done for X amount of money rather than, buying the wood here, the shingles here, and doing
So
it all
to answer
yourself.
your question, though, I think you probably could get it cheaper then, because if you understood how to do it, you
Yeah.
could probably buy the
I would
material.
think so.
So I think this is more of a convenience
Well-
than,
15, 20, 25. To build the outer shell of just the outer shell, no windows.
no
No
windows
windows,
have
no doors.
tripled in price.
You're looking at about $30,000 for each floor. Like you build the floor. This is this is with a basement already in place. So if you're building it on a slab,
This too, you have to have your
you're
slab.
building on a slab. So the floor, first floor to build the wood for a 2,450 square foot home would be $5,000. The walls would be another $5,000. The next floor would be another $5,000. The next walls would be another $5,000, and then the roof another $5,000. So you're looking at almost $30,000.
So it's
it
a
would-
convenience
it's-
thing.
Yeah. But then they might be including the windows.
Yeah,
The
I'm gonna
windows
dig into this
supposedly
more
are
for
about
next week.
40,000 for that, so you'd be at about 85,000.
You're not, yeah, but Randy, it's
But that's
240
2,400.
square feet, not 2,400.
No, I know,
So
I'm
the
giving
windows
you-
aren't gonna cost you 40 grand.
No, I understand, sweetheart, but I don't have experience with a 240 square foot, so I'm giving you an experience that I do have with 20, and then you can divide it by 10 to get your 240. So that would be about an $80,000 bill, so that rain couldn't get inside. You'd still don't have your tiles on the roof or any of that, and you still don't have your exterior, if you're going to put siding or whatever, and you're at about 85,000 with the windows and doors. So,
We got an email from Craig. Craig says, hello. I understood Jackie quite clearly. It is a home that comes with the basics. I saw it online. Bedroom, bathroom, kitchen included. So would it be better to buy a small plot of land and buy one of those? Sounds interesting.
I know our niece,
I think Craig's.
maybe 6, 7 years ago, no, our niece, 6 or 7 years ago, bought a tiny home. She paid $35,000 for it. It was on wheels, so she could tow it wherever she wanted, and she paid $35,000, and it was everything in it finished.
I can
When
get.
was this?
About 7,
Well, I saw
6,
one.
7 years ago, maybe less than that.
I saw one just the other day for under $50,000, a very nice one on wheels, totally finished and ready to go. So it could be wheeled wherever you want it to wheel.
But then you gotta have plumbing and
And
electrical.
well, you got to
like-
hook up those kind
yeah.
of services, of course.
Yeah.
But it's basically an RV in a sense, without steering wheels or any of that.
But it's an option.
Craig was asking about buying a small plot of land too, but even buying a small plot of land right now you're looking at a
Yeah.
pretty chunky
Yeah.
change.
I do know of 2 10-acre lots that you cannot build on. So you would have to have like a tiny home. You have to have something
On
with
wheels.
wheels that can move. And you can get them under $100,000 around here, but you can't build on them right now.
Yeah, you
because
can, but you
because,
can have a movable
Is this
home.
because of the bugs thing you like to talk about?
Yep, that's the
Yes.
reason.
It's because not the green space, the purple space.
the purple space.
Purple space? What's that?
So you got
The purple,
blue
you got-
space
yeah.
where you can work and build, and you got the green space where you can walk and only walk, and then the space in between them, the overlapping space, Doug Ford called the purple space because it's actually purple is the blue and green overlap.
Okay.
And that space, our government was not allowing you to build on either.
Blue
so
and
it
red
was-
makes purple, actually, not blue and
Blue and red, okay. So, but he called it the purple space with this overlapping.
So he made up why he called it purple.
No, that's what he did. And so one of the reasons why I said, hey, I want to vote for Doug Ford if I was in his municipality. But anyways, was because he was going to make that purple space buildable. And I think that the more that we're allowed to build, it'll help to bring down and ease prices, home prices. But of course, he backed away from it as soon as the bugs and lizard lobbyists got all over him
Was Jackie there?
and threatened to put grasshoppers
No, I wasn't
in
there.
his yard.
But you know what? Listen, go on Facebook and look at people are posting. Somebody posts a photo of like a fox in and around Pickering Village, I think. A fox in and around all this.
I've
They've
seen-
always been
yeah,
around.
Yeah, but
sweetheart.
no, not
Yeah.
like that
Yeah.
years ago. We
Yes.
never saw them.
When I-
Now
when
they're
I was
coming
more
in
years
more.
ago.
When
They're
I was
coming way into
when I was in
the urban
Ajax,
part
every now and then, you're not gonna see them all the time, but you see them.
I saw
It's
them.
way
I saw
more
them quite a
often
bit.
That was
because
like-
they're trying to find somewhere to live.
That was like 20 years ago. I've seen fox.
And foxes are hard to spot, Jackie, but they're all over the place. How you?
Coyotes are in people's backyards.
Yeah.
Come on.
Yeah, it's been like that the whole time, Jack. That's my opinion. The thing is, for me, the way usually when I spot a fox, you're just seeing the tail end of it running, and its tail usually like floating straight. That's how you kind of know it's a fox as opposed to another kind of animal, because their tail sort of goes straight as they're running. And,
That's
but
interesting to know, guys.
that's my wife.
Hey, before time, we have one email came in from Jim a little bit ago.
Spin too.
Jim says, "Superhero, save us." I saw a lot of Trudeau's trips at the G7 on TV. Most of the world leaders shunned him, and some even walked out of the meeting room he talked. He is a farce in a lot of eyes of the world. Okay, Randy, if you're a superhero, save us. Get us mortgages to buy homes. Work your superpowers.
Woohoo!
Yeah,
Randy.
I would love to do that. However, that's not part of my mandate. My mandate is
Your superhero mandate.
Yes,
There's a big booklet. I've seen
I
it.
fight villains,
Yeah, remember he's like it's like the Wolverine.
and they're not humans. These
But we
creatures
were
that I
foster
fight.
parents for 15 years, and this was the little play thing he used to do with them, that he was Axeman. And some of them, they kind of be like wondering, is this true? Is this You know, so it was and he's kept
Of
it going
course
for
it's
many
true.
years.
Okay, so but you guys, I need to put a warning out. Do not spread that around. The more people that know that you know puts your life in danger because they'll get to come to get you in order to use you as a pawn to attract me to go, and that could put your life in danger. So don't
Yes,
do
because
that.
you see how much danger I'm in.
as-
I'm still here.
As a super, well, you're very close to the source, so you get well protected. So it's very different for you.
Do the
But
spin.
I'm
Do
not
the
able
spin,
to protect
X-Man.
our entire audience, which is growing to almost 7,000 people. It's a lot of people to run around protecting every day. So please don't tell people you know that I'm X-Man. Let's do this. So we're doing a draw for $25 for
Amazon
the
gift card.
Amazon gift card. And for everybody who submitted the application, in this case,
application?
no, not the application, who filled out the
He's
survey.
thinking about mortgages now.
In this case, for everybody who filled out the survey, we are giving $1 to charity. And so this week there wasn't a lot, or this month there wasn't a lot of people who did it. So hopefully we'll have more so charity can get more money. And we're about to do the spin. Does you want to touch?
Ding, ding.
Ooh, there we go.
I like the slots.
Who's going to
so I like
announce the
to do
winner? I
spin.
can't see it.
Oh, it's Carl.
Carl.
E.
Carl E is the winner. So Carl, you just have to send us an email to get your $25 and let us know where you would like the money for charity to go. And we will send you out your $25 and we will send the money out for charity. Thank you, Carl.
Thanks, Carl. And I think that's it. We
have a few
we
minutes.
got 3 minutes.
Yeah, 3 minutes.
Any emails, Anthony?
No, I think we got all the emails. I'll save my, I guess, article for next week, but more or less was talking about the affordability of buying a home. And we talked about this a bit before, trying to relate how hard it is to buy a home now versus earlier. Just to give you a bit of a quick overview of it. A study was done by the National Bank of Canada, and they analyzed the housing market over the last 10 years. And pretty much they're saying right now, if you have a median annual household income of $91,858, it'll take you only 25 years to save for down payment. So 25 years of saving, and you should be able to afford your first home. So it's not that bad. You can start with when you're 3. By 28, you can afford a house. So
Isn't that ridiculous?
so yeah, it's anyway. Again, we're a bit tight for time, but I'll get more into it next week. But this takes the fact, the price of house, how much your income is going up, how much it costs for your daily living, right? Again, I wasn't around in the '60s, and so, but back then, you were around, right?
I just caught the end of it.
I was a baby.
So, where we spend our money now, again, in relation to before, I just think there's a lot more outlets for our money. There's a lot more demand
Yeah.
on the money.
Yeah.
Like in the '60s, you had your mortgage payments, you had your groceries, and you maybe had TV. Again, you obviously had your housing cost, your hydro, your gas. All those things were still there, but you didn't have all these other things pulling at you. Your internet, your cell phones, your Uber. Again, some of these things aren't you don't have to do them like Uber Eats, but a lot of people are. And there was a lot less pull on your income. Yes, you were more of a one income household, but you could be a one income household, right? There wasn't such a demand on your income. But again, we'll get more into this next week as we are tight on time. I don't know if you have anything else quickly to say, Randy, for now?
Yeah, I would like to say is that, like you were talking about in the '60s, that the things that you had to spend your money on, but you forget the '60s was a time of love.
Yeah,
And
freedom
so
and
they,
love going
so
around
they had
everywhere.
they had to buy tie-dye shirts and the bell-bottom jeans and things like that. The peace logos, headbands were very popular.
Yes.
It was an expensive time. The clothing to stay up with fashion back then, you had to really move. So it wasn't as easy as you're thinking.
But they didn't have those.
Remember a bag, a little, the smallest little, brown bags you can get? About this big. I remember we'd go
Paper
with
bags.
25 cents, and holy smokes, that little paper bag will be overflowing with all kinds of candy.
For us, it was a
Remember that?
nickel.
Now you have the $1,000 Yeezys that look like.
Oh,
Crap.
$1,000.
Oh my gosh, aren't they horrible?
Are they horrible? I
Well,
don't know.
this one rubber one that somebody made, it's like a
I don't know
flipping
what's going on.
spaceship on your foot. Like,
Yeah,
who the hell's
the kids in my
wearing
class
that?
have them. I'm like, anywho, I think our time is up. So thank you, ladies and gents, for joining us again. If you have any questions during the week, send it to onair@yourteam.pro. You can catch us on YouTube. Search for Your Team Pros at Your Team Pros. And as always, it's been your home, your money, and our lives on realityradio101.com.
Bye for now.
Great weekend.
Thank you for listening to Your Home, Your Money with your hosts, Randy, Jackie, and Anthony, right here on Reality Radio 101.